another scare tactic being used against us like the Y2K, or as David Icke says, like the spiritual Y2K?
What does David Icke say?
Oh, well, actually, he said that he thinks that 2012 is just being used and actually manipulated to the max, and things that Hollywood's made into all sorts of films, and and really Hollywood is about working in the Illuminati agenda, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'd like to suggest this. First of all, there's a lot of concern in our circles of light that this movie is going to bring people down.
Yeah.
And I would like to suggest that people have got their bags full of being afraid. Okay, we've still got people lining up to get the vaccine, which I'd like to talk about.
Yes, please do.
But I think that the time is now that, first of all, second of all, I think I already did first of all, we've seen so much Hollywood hype. I've seen the trailer for this movie. It's very sad. People running as the world is crumbling behind them. I think that it's a beautiful metaphor for what's really happening on real levels as far as the structures that are crumbling. And I think people are going to pretty much laugh at this film. I think the anticipation of the film is far greater than what it's going to produce. And being the permanent optimist, I think that we need this film because it's getting people talking about 2012 that had their head in the sand completely. Bring on the film, bring on the fear, let's look at it. Let's look at all of it. I really think the exciting thing about 2012 is this. Not December 21st, December 22nd. Why?
The day after the shift.
Of course. After 6.7 billion people get over their expectations, fear, projections, creation of terror, Armageddon and fear about that date, there will be the next day. And all of that pile of negativity will have begun by nature of the fact that there's the next day, people are Christmas shopping, life has gone on. So we're going to feel absolutely, some people say a sigh of relief. Think about a global breath-catching event, because truly I think most people are concerned that the end of the world is coming. Many people, let's say, are highly concerned that we're moving toward Armageddon. So when we don't, when we pass through that, this is quite indicative of the shift that is occurring. The whole planet going, okay, whew, let's go shopping, as George Bush would say.
So do you think it's going to be a gradual shift? I mean, are people going to suddenly feel it from one day to the next, that suddenly they're a whole lot, another energy level, another density higher? Or do you think it's going to be something that happens gradually? That people start ascend slowly, because I personally thought it was going to be quite a slow gradual thing, not something that happens on one day or at one time.
That's right. We're in it already anyway,
Yeah.
aren't we? When we talk about 2012, I mean, look what's going on this planet. Yesterday I talked to 500 people. It used to be I talked to 10 people. I'm talking to thousands of people, as I said earlier. And people are empowered. They look at what's going on, they understand it, more and more people understand it, and more people are not afraid of it. And when we let go of the fear, that's the trap. That's the low vibration I was talking about that links us vibrationally to this planet. The negative force of fear is immense. So when the fear starts to go, what happens?
We ascend.
Ascension being, first of all, a process within us. When you really understand your own immortality, there really is nothing to fear. This is the biggie. If you can grasp it, we've been taught in Western culture particularly to put death over there. And we run about our busy activity lives, never ever thinking about that until we lose someone we love or we get sick. Whereas in some of the more evolved civilizations, like the Mayans, the ancient Mayans, like the Tibetans, lived to celebrate that passage. The Egyptians, of course, the Egyptians, they wanted to bring the chariot, the wine and bread, so they didn't quite have it right necessarily about what I believe that process is, which is letting go of the physical experience. But I think we're there. Whether it's death, whether it's ascension, what's important is for people to understand that each of these is simply a process, a transmutation, a transformation of energy. And that how could you possibly be afraid if you know that you don't die, you don't end. This is the trick.
Well, something I've covered extensively in my book is that I believe the biggest con that's ever been pulled on humanity is to teach people to fear death.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the foundational psychological soil upon which all other fear is built. And
I agree.
You say, when you get past that understanding, like I said to you, what have I got to be afraid of?
Well, I can say this, when I get up in front of people and ask them, are you going to keep doing this or what? Because I'm really trying to rally people to get off of their asses. Get off of your asses. Get out of that little space where you've been programmed to believe you're powerless. And that is, we will keep you safe. Just sign the dotted line where you give up all of your rights. Homeland Security, oh yes, well, it's to keep you safe. Airport x-rays where you can see my private parts. Well, it's about safety. And people have bought into the safety thing to the throat. And guess what? I don't think you can keep me safe because you are the problem. What a gag is this? So are you keeping me safe from what? I don't want to be safe. I'm not safe. I don't need to be safe. This is the message.
Good for
You're
you.
not going to put me in that box. And as long as people, I don't think that people really believe it anyway. Do you?
Sadly, I do.